Hey everybody, it's me, Pastor Jason, and I want to welcome you to this week's edition of Lawless. We've been talking a lot lately about the fruit of the Spirit and how Jesus gave us perfect examples of how to live them out. We've talked about love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness. So here we go. We're talking about big number 8, gentleness. And today is all about this. Yep, that's it. The whole story about Jesus and gentleness comes down to one simple hand movement. Have you ever seen anyone do that before? Do you know what this means? Yeah, it means come here, or come closer, or come away from there. Any way you slice it, this means leave where you are and come be closer to me. I've seen policemen direct traffic like that. The ground crews at the airport use their ginormous flashlights to tell airplanes where to go. How many of you have ever seen your mom or dad call you over like this? Or like this? Yeah, that last one, I always knew I was in trouble when I got that last one. See, lots of people use that motion for lots of different reasons, but it still means the same thing. Leave where you are and come be closer to me. So let me tell you a story about Jesus and gentleness and this. In Mark chapter 10, it says, "Getting up, he went from there to the region of Judea and beyond the Jordan. Crowds gathered around him again, and according to his custom, he once more began to teach them." And in verse 13, it says, "And they were bringing children to him so that he might touch them. But the disciples rebuked them. But when Jesus saw this, he was indignant and said to them, 'Permit the children to come to me. Do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Truly I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child will not enter it at all.' And he took them in his arms and began blessing them, laying his hands on them." See, Jesus was teaching a crowd of people, and they started bringing children just like you to Jesus. And the disciples treated the children like they were in trouble, like they were doing something wrong, like they were bothering Jesus. They were kind of rough with them. But Jesus didn't like that at all, and he told them to leave the children alone. Let them come. Jesus said to those children, "Come here, leave where you are and come be closer to me." Jesus did this to those kids. You see, Jesus was being gentle. He was being kind, tender, and available to the little people who really needed him. He wanted them to know that they were absolutely allowed to be there. He wanted them there. He wanted them close. He loved them just as much as anybody else. And here's what gentleness really is. It's being kind and tender with those who are weak instead of being rough. Being welcoming and available to those who need you and want to be with you instead of separating from them because they're bothering you. See, Jesus shows us the perfect example of gentleness. He'll never be mean, rough, or harsh with us when we are weak and when we need him. He'll never separate from us because we're bothering him. He always does this. And we can always go to him without being afraid because he is always gentle with us. I love what Mark 10 verse 16 says, "And he took them in his arms and began blessing them, laying his hands on them." See, Jesus wants us to know that we are safe with him. Even though we're weak or small or scared, we're safe with him because he is gentle. He has time for us. He's never too busy. He calls to us because he wants us to be close to him. He wants to show us gentleness. He wants to hold us in his arms and bless us and put his hands on our lives, just like he did in the book of Mark. Let me ask you a question. Is there any place in the world that's safer than Jesus' arms? No way. He's the all-powerful creator of the universe who is stronger and smarter and better than anything else that exists. When Jesus gently holds us in his arms, we don't have to worry about anything. We are protected and safe. And when his hands are on our lives, he can bless us and give us everything we need. See, when I take my son with me to the grocery store, I always hold his hand, or I put my hand right on the top of his head so that if he starts to walk a wrong way or he starts to walk towards a car, I can gently move him back to the right spot. See, that's what God can do when you let him put his hands on your life. He can direct your every step with just a little nudge. But you can only hold his hand and be directed through your life if you go to him when he says, "Come here." You can only be held in his arms and be completely unafraid and safe if you go to him when he says, "Come closer." You can only know his blessings when you leave wherever you are and come be close to him. See, today, Jesus is doing this to you and me. He's calling us closer. He's calling us to be gentle like he is, gentle with our family and our friends, kind, tender, and available to the people who need us. Are you ready? Because Jesus is saying, "Come closer, be with me, be like me." Let's be like Jesus and show the world that we can be gentle just like he is.